What's up, y'all? Do you know what the ideomotor response is, or ideomotor effect? That's all right. I didn't know what it was either till last night. I was watching this YouTube video, and basically in the video it explains it, and it's basically the scientific theory behind why Ouija boards sometimes work in interesting ways, and like words and answers and coherent phrases and sentences get picked. And it has to do with the fact that the Ouija board puck is like so slippery, and multiple people put just a little bit of pressure on it. And so basically the ideomotor effect is like unconsciously the mind is trying to make sense, and even in little movements through the fingers that you're not aware of and you're not intentionally doing. And so combining that with multiple people doing that, it's almost like this collective unconscious, which I think is really cool. I was thinking about that today, and Ouija boards are fascinating. And one of my most intense Ouija board stories happened my junior year at college, and that was the year that Riley was at Graceland with me, and we were on the same house, and I was the house president. And Halloween, we had a wild night, including potential possession of one of our friends, and a Ouija board, and a cemetery, and a room full of shirtless dudes. So I might have a little picture here of me and Riley. Anyway, it's all to say, this thing went down, and it was very funny. And we did Ouija board, and that was the first time I actually had anything interesting happen in a Ouija board. And that's a story for another day. But basically, I bring this up because in the last 6 months of Riley's life, one time when they were over, we were talking about that incident. And it was sort of a thing where, like, I just thought it was so funny, and everyone thought it was so funny. And, like, one of our friends who said he was possessed, like, was acting serious about it. But that made sense. But one of the times that Riley was over for dinner, they told me how they thought that that actually, like, they believed that the spirits were there and in the Ouija board, and that tracked with their more being unmoored from reality, as I would put it, and also just being interested in the supernatural, and feeling like they had powers and they had telepathy and stuff. And so this wasn't surprising to hear that they now believed this way. But it did make me think about it just in watching this video. And the sad half of this video, it's about this case. It's by this YouTuber named Andrew or something. I don't have it up. It's about this case of this woman who said that she did collected. Wait. What did she do? No, facilitated communication. And this is kind of a controversial kind of therapeutic practice. Anna Stubblefield is the name of this woman. And she basically, like, was the communicator for this disabled man. And eventually, like, the disabled man said through her that, like, they're in love and they are going to move in together. And the case is really tragic, and I think she's in prison now. I'm not going to go any deeper into that. You can look it up. But in talking about this case, it's interesting because the YouTuber kind of goes into the history of facilitated communication. And this woman, actually, her mom was like a prominent person in that field. But there is a connection where the ideomotor response can also come into play. So I don't remember if in this case specifically, but one of the reasons they said facilitated communication is problematic and can lead to people not actually, basically it didn't hold up in a court. There was a certain case where someone needed to, like, communicate, and so they did the facilitated communication. But in order to make sure that this worked, the judge, like, showed the defendant or whatever and the communicator different things, and the person answered with the answers that the communicator would have known, but not the actual person. That maybe didn't make sense. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I think it's kind of like a pseudoscience thing, but a lot of people are into it. But it had actual pretty bad consequences. I think this woman's in jail for like sexual crimes, and it's just really unfortunate because she had so much power in this position. But this video is also talking about the way that this was like potentially kind of delusional on her case. And it was connected with this ideomotor response too, because I think the YouTuber believed that this woman believed her own bullshit as to what like she was wanting to say for this man was actually real, which doesn't excuse any of the awful things that she did. But obviously, themes of delusion and disability and caretaking made me think about Riley a lot too in the wake of their death and in the wake of trying to support them and also just be a loving brother while they were alive, and struggling with feeling like I didn't do enough and struggling like I could have done things differently. And so I think that's one of the reasons I've been talking about this, and one of the reasons this video made me think about Riley a lot. But all in all, that's to say I have no thesis statement for this video, but the Ouija situation was awesome and hilarious and a core memory, and I'm glad I have that experience with Riley. So do what you want, I guess, y'all. Take it easy. I don't know shit, but I got a cool shirt. Okay, I'm spinning. Bye. Oh my gosh, hold up, everyone. I just remembered why I even made this video in the first place, which was the grand idea that was like a spark in my mind, but I forgot it as I was telling the story. And that is, I think the Ideomotor Effect is really fascinating in the way that it is like connecting to your own personal unconscious sometimes. And obviously that's like, it's not always a good thing, but I think the way that I create feels very similar to the Ideomotor Effect. And I would say that just by these sort of the structures that I've built and the routines that I do, and even in talking about, I'm making these videos about a minute long and I just let her rip and I post my first take. Like, the reason I say that is how important it is, I think, to my creative process. And so, similar to someone grabbing the bottom of my elbow, whatever this expression that comes from me, I'm kind of relieving some of the weight and just letting it go where it goes and follow kind of the unconscious patterns. And I can't claim to access the collective unconscious, but I'm trying to explore my own, I guess, and also just feel comfortable in sharing things that are true to me, and just letting it go. And so that is why I tied all of this together, and I was thinking about the Ideomotor Effect, because it's what I've been doing the last like 4 years in some way. And so that is all. This is the end for real. Thanks again for listening to like a 9-minute video of me just rambling about some random crap. You guys rock. I love you. Bye.